This year has been crazy, specifically for Tatsuki Fujimoto. A lot of you know him from his works on Chainsaw Man, where he made some absolutely iconic panels. Here are just a few of them. But he's a man of many talents, making some banger one-shots, making some crazy fucking manga, and has the power to fucking levitate. But this man is having a crazy year for his works being adapted. Earlier this year, well, I should say in the last 2 months, he finally had the Reze movie released to all of the public. And holy shit, I enjoyed this arc in the manga. I liked everybody in this arc, but they somehow managed to elevate this arc to something unbelievable. I had high expectations for this arc. I had high expectations for this movie. Like I told myself, if this isn't a 10 out of 10 movie, it's gonna disappoint me. And they somehow managed to take an already great story in the manga and elevate it to a masterpiece. Like I said, my expectations were out of this world for this movie, but some way, somehow, they were able to take my expectations tenfolded and fucking just make me speechless watching this movie. And while some of it comes from how they did the animation, because it's some of the best animation I have ever seen, and the art style works so much better for this movie compared to the anime. I know, crazy take, but I wasn't the biggest fan of how season 1 looked, especially after reading the manga. It didn't give me that Chainsaw Man feel. I was just not a fan of how, like, muted the colors felt and how gritty it felt. It didn't feel Chainsaw Man. But this movie did the opposite of that, and it felt like I was watching the Chainsaw Man movie, not something else entirely. Plus, if you didn't see this in IMAX movie theaters, I feel sorry for you, because it was a fucking majestical, just movie in IMAX. It was beautiful, amazing, stunning, whatever the fuck you want to say. It was a fucking 40 gazillion out of 10. They took simple moments like the pool scene, which is like a handful of panels in the manga, and turned it into such a nice moment between Denji and Reze. And had all this symbolism from the spider, the butterfly symbolism, someone catching someone in a trap, and a lot of people saw it as Denji getting fully caught by Reze. But someone on Twitter had a different interpretation that I low-key agree with significantly more. And it even helps people online who have been fighting that Reze fell in love first. I can't find the tweet, but someone said, what if Denji was the spider and Reze was the butterfly? And after really thinking about it, I was like, you know what? He might genuinely be right, because I think this is the moment where Reze really started to realize that she has feelings for him, that she doesn't want to toy with him anymore, that she might feel something more. This was probably my favorite part of the movie. I love the action, but the thing that stuck with me throughout the movie wasn't even the fights and the little details they sprinkled throughout it, but it was the character moments. It made me remember why exactly I liked Reze as a character, why I liked both of them together so much. I knew Reze was turning. I mean, shit, the trailers don't even hide it. And I knew the demise was coming, but it made me enjoy her all over again. It made me feel that heartbreak when she was so close to running away with Denji, just dying a few meters away from the store. This movie was just amazing. It's something people will never forget. I mean, there's a good reason it's one of the highest rated animes of the year. They really took something, made so many more scenes stand out. Like, this ain't just I love this movie. I love the manga. And while all this was coming out, he also still had Chainsaw Man currently going on, which a lot of people have said the current stuff isn't as good as the, other stuff. Even when it was coming out, I saw people hating on it.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
But for me, I still think it's fucking awesome. I think it's great. I don't think there's been much of a drop-off, if any. While yes, it's calmed down a bit, purely because some arcs were just fucking, like, skyrocketing in terms of scale. The other ones have just been really fucking good, but there was also a rumbling going around at the time of the Reze movie. And that is that his one-shots would be fully adapted into series, which is crazy to think because he had some pretty successful things come out even before he worked on Chainsaw Man. You have Fire Punch, which I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you, I haven't read it. I'll get around to it, but it definitely isn't too much of a priority, and a lot of people have glazed it, and I'm not really sure if it's any good or not, but I'll eventually get to it. And fuck, man, did I get to it? And holy shit, what? I can never look at this fucking panel the same, dude. Holy fuck. Eventually, all of his one-shots were put into a compilation, basically being everything he put out before Chainsaw Man, and they finally got an anime adaptation. And some studios, and by some, I mean a multitude of studios, worked together to adapt all these one-shots. There's 8 in total, all receiving really good adaptations. Fujimoto is weird. He's always doing something in his stories that feels so far out to people who just observe them from afar. But each time you read his stories, you get sucked into them. They make so much more sense when you read them or watch them. He's so creative that I think people don't give him a lot of credit for that. He always takes ideas that are far out there and uses them pretty effectively. Sometimes they're executed perfectly, and other times he can fall flat, but I mean, that is everything it takes to tell a story. You're gonna hit the highs, but you're also gonna hit the lows as well. Like, I just want to say, Fujimoto, thank you, bro. Thank you for being you, because you just write some amazing shit, man. Out of all 8 adaptations, there are only a few I want to talk about, mostly because Giga beat me to the punch talking about these, but I'm only going to talk about a few because there were only a few that I really liked, and one I genuinely disliked a lot, and I'll speak about that one now, and it's the Mermaid episode, or episode 5. And after reading the one-shots, I understood why I hated this one so much, and it's purely for this claim right here. The reason I dislike it so much is because it's complete counter to Fujimoto. I just gave him compliments on how I love his shit so much because it's so fucking creative, so out there, so just everything about his works are so fucking good, but this one is literally just basic as hell. You know, he gets points because that was the whole point, but it misses that Fujimoto flair, the reason he is as good as he is. This just feels like one of those basic ass shows you get nowadays, so overall, my least favorite one by a mile. And that shit ain't even close, it is by far the worst one. Like, that shit is a -10 on a 1 out of 10 scale. It was just straight up Boruto. So, whoever told him to cook this up, I shame you publicly right now, because bro, why would you tell him to do that? Why? One I also kind of want to touch on, because I actually really like this episode purely because of how dumb it is. This is all about a confession, and no matter what shit gets in his way, he is going to confess to the girl he has insane feelings for. And everything you could possibly think of happens. Getting robbed mid-confession, he simply rips off his pants and tells him to fuck off. Then an alien literally comes down from a fucking spaceship wanting to build a big-ass space highway. And all he says, before we do it, bro, do you guess, like, mine? We at least want to hear you out. And the response is just so dumb that it makes me laugh. And I don't know if it's because I'm brain-rotted. I mean, I laughed at 6-7 at least 6 to 7 times today. Holy fuck, I'm chopped, cooked, chud, whatever the fuck is sitting to me you want to use. Fucking throw it at me, please help me, maybe, because I'm so fucking good. He simply just says, I'm busy. Holy fuck, the aura. Everything is nuts. I can't believe this. Is this peak writing? Because holy shit, I could cry. It feels like a big-ass Love is War episode on crack or whatever, perk 30s, whatever the fuck you want to give them. It's just that series amped to 100. Maybe there's a deeper meaning of how negative thoughts you have during a confession. But I think it would just be funnier if actually all of this just straight up fucking happened. There are 4 episodes that really stuck with me and are my favorites from this whole project. And I know, leaving 7 off, I just didn't really enjoy it that much. And also, probably because there's some pretty relevant things that happen in this manga that have scarred me. But there are 4 amazing ones that I really liked, and all for different reasons. Episode 1 has some crazy ass animation. Episode 4, he actually deals with some deep emotional complexity and how it affects each character. Episode 6 feel like he has perfected this craft of character complexity and how to get it off in a way anybody could understand. And 8 is fucking Gooner Slob. But it actually does have a deeper message about art and how jealousy can affect you and how it can skew the view around you and how someone can view your ideal image but doesn't really understand the imperfections that are below. And I know all of them deal with character complexities, but let me have my moment talking about these episode 1. Episode 1 just stands out for the animation. As the aliens have taken over the Earth, humans were simply killed out, but there's 2 still alive and well. One is a little girl and the other is an older gentleman, but I'll cut to the chase. This man was an alien, eventually growing a heart to protect this girl. And I don't know why, but this shit genuinely made a tear come to my eye. Like, I cried a little bit, I really did. She thinks he actually hated him, but nah, Twin really enjoyed their time together when he finally put himself in the human shoes and he came to the idea of keeping her safe. It was a really short and simple story, and honestly, the way they show off the humans getting eaten and Yuta's full transformation into a human and having all the nice moments between him and the little girl, sharing all their moments together, was great. This was the studio behind this episode. They went above and beyond putting together something magical that you would remember. This is the most easiest to follow, so they went above and beyond to make something immaculate that you would remember. Elevated an okay story to one that was amazing. This just shows how much an animation can play part in turning something into gold, even if it is super simple. Episode 4 is honestly hard as fuck. Asking an assassin to pull up and pack your shit, and she instantly pulls out a shotgun and blows your shit clean off. But she's such a tragic character. Earlier in life, she's beaten because she likes to kill things. Her mother beats her brutally till she was screaming, I'm sorry. But as she says I'm sorry each time, her hits get harder and harder till blood comes out, never understanding why nobody ever accepts her apology. Until she meets a vampire who is the first person ever to accept her apology. This vampire who has been alive for like ever is bored as hell. So he finally finds amusement in Chikaku because she's a lot like him, but she also finds something as well. Someone who finally accepts her for her. So of course this leads to her having feelings for the first time. And what feelings am I specifically talking about? Well, it's love, of course. Which leads to a funny moment where she asks him what this feeling is exactly, and he says, I think it's a cold. You should go to the hospital. And she's like, wow, I didn't think of that. Leading to her confessing on national television that she's so in love with him, and she's saying, hey, well, a beauty like me fell in love with you, so you're so privileged. And he laughs so violently, he fucking dies. The end. I know, how funny. A man never doomed to die, dies because of laughter. How ironic, they say. But actually, he doesn't die. He goes to her in her final hour because someone has finally made him laugh, where they have a conversation as Mr. Vampire says, "You're lucky to be able to die, to live so freely and die easily." And she says with her last couple of breaths, "Don't try to die. I love you and I'll kill you." And boom! The next thing you know, she turned into a vampire because bro finally found the one for him. The one that will make this boring life that he's had to suffer through for so long finally have some true entertainment, cutting 200 years in the future, where she messes up a cake and he laughs after she messes it up, but you can just tell how much he accepts her for her, with eating this goofy ass cake anyways. Finally, two people who could only find misery found each other, accepting the part of them that nobody else would ever accept. This just shows that there's anybody out there for you, so no matter how many years you have to suffer or how many people misunderstand you, there will be someone who eventually understands you for you. Sorry, I was eating candy in that last clip. It was Twizzlers, so either hate me or love me, I don't know. And when you finally find that someone, whether it be a friend or significant other, you'll have the time of your life. This studio is the people behind bringing this to life, and they seem to be newer in the studio sphere. I looked them up, but I could hardly find anything outside of them helping with a bit of the Reze movie and making this singular episode. They did a great job of making this one stand out, and the animation was phenomenal. Using lighting and all of that to show off specific things like, yo, she's in the light and he's in the dark. Maybe it could represent their feelings about how they feel about life at this current moment, or it could literally just be a lighting moment. But sometimes the lighting just has this movie level quality. This scene I couldn't get out of my head. He's glowing in the light and this ominous light's falling over Mr. Vampire. All around, a great episode. Just remember, there's always going to be someone for you. Episode 6 is just straight up a banger narratively. One day a man wakes up as a woman, and that's literally the whole narrative of this short story, but it's so good. This is a story of understanding oneself. All episode, he doesn't know if he should even consider himself a man anymore because he became a girl, but that is only physical. On the inside, he is still the same person he has always been. And his girlfriend was pretty chill about the whole situation until he talked about her brother. Then something clicked in her brain. She automatically assumed it was love, but the feeling he had for her brother was admiration. He wants to be like her brother. And after finally explaining all of this to his girlfriend, she finally understands that even despite the exterior looking female, on the inside he is still him. Still a man, and of course this ends the only way Fujimoto could possibly end it, by dropping this goofy ass bar.
だから僕だってセックスしたい。帰ったらする。
If that line isn't the most Fujimoto line, I really have no idea what the most Fujimoto line is. And after explaining everything to her, she falls in love with him again, and the two are happy for the rest of their lives, yippee! The greatness of this one shot is making you understand something that plenty of people feel. There are tons of people out there that never truly feel like themselves. And this chapter does a great job of actually helping you understand that emotion if you've never known someone who has dealt with it before. It was something I understood early on in my life, about how feeling like the you on the inside doesn't match you on the outside. It can apply to anything about you. You don't have to relate to the topic specifically, but it's more about finding your true self. It's just so funny for him to finally become a man. He had to become a girl first. This episode is really good, and one I think people should genuinely just really check out because it does an amazing job at telling its narrative and driving that point across. Plus, the studio behind it went like stupid mode on this adaptation. The coloring, the characters, everything about how it was adapted was peak, man. Honestly, some really good shit here. It was kind of crazy. Now for episode 8, where a lot of the controversy comes from, because this anime has some crazy stuff to show up, which I understand where people hate against it because it makes sense, but I think it actually does a good job of enhancing the overall story, or should I say the symbolism it's trying to show off. We have two sisters here, and they go to an art school, and if you draw the best piece in the school, they throw that bitch up in the middle of the hallway for all the students to see. And Mitsuko's sister ends up painting her nude from imagination, so now she is stuck for the whole school to see her butt-ass naked. Throughout the story, we understand after her sister wanted to get into art school that their relationship fractured, and that's mostly due to Mitsuko being jealous because her sister is insanely cracked at art, where they even struggle to communicate with each other. One day, as she's staring at her own naked body, her sister's teacher tells her that the assignment was to paint your own personal goal. So she painted her sister Mitsuko because that's who she looks up to. And to get back at her sister, she shows her how to really paint her naked, so she paints herself naked. And look, I get it. It sounds weird and it looks weird, but follow my defense here for a second. Mitsuko says her sister has always been looking at her from behind. This is how she was able to paint Mitsuko nude, because she's always looking from behind. She saw her sister as a goal she wanted to achieve. She wanted to be everything Mitsuko was, so she drew her sister perfect, but in actuality, she wasn't perfect. So she painted herself nude to show her sister, yo, I'm not as perfect as you think I am. There's a lot you got wrong. I might be your goal, but I'm not that perfect. She showed her sister all her imperfections to really show her who exactly she was. I think all around it was a good episode of showing off something in a crazy way, exposing oneself to show off the imperfections. Nude has always meant to expose oneself, to be completely vulnerable, and I think that's why he chose to make them naked, to show them being completely vulnerable. At least that's my take from it. Also, the animation is fucking gas. Like all the one-shots, they've been fucking gas. Overall, this was a crazy year for Fujimoto's adaptations. I would have liked to talk more about the Reze movie, but I'll save that for another time potentially. I just wanted to talk about the anime adaptations for his 17 through 26 one-shots because I liked a lot of them, and you could see so many things in there that cause for a lot of his later works to succeed. There's so many references and things you see in there that really show up in many other works that he has worked on, and the worst thing about this whole thing is that it took me over 5 years to understand why exactly it's called Tatsuki Fujimoto 17 through 26.